with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast this thing live every single day on YouTube and X. Just hit that subscribe button and you can get The Rome Show every day at 7 a.m. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I guide you on this journey for 29 to 33 minutes daily. And by now, you should know the path of the show. If you don't, I tell it to you right now. Thursday night football, the battle of the number one spot in the NFC East. I don't know if it lived up to expectations. It was a good football game. And a lot to break down there as the Eagles get a sixth victory in a row. Some news out of the other three major sports, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and the NBA. So we'll have to get into that. Plus, it's Friday. So we have to go through the weekend slate of National Football League games. We are now in week 11 of the National Football League. So that's how we end the show today. And then we give you our bananas for the weekend. So a jam-packed Friday show here on the Rome Show, 12 OZ Sports. Before we get into that entire itinerary right there, we remind you the social media is the Rome Show 1. You can get that on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, on any social media. That's the Rome Show and the number 1. And then our mothership, 12 OZ Sports. That's the number 12 OZ Sports. And the same rules apply. Facebook, Instagram, X, but then also, arguably most important, that YouTube channel. I was on yesterday creating some clips for the show. And I got to tell you, when you subscribe to a YouTube channel, it is super easy to type in youtube.com and get right back to the homepage of where you want to go for the channel that you're subscribed to. So head over to youtube.com/12OZ Sports, hit the subscribe button and join the nearly 5,300 plus people that are subscribed to 12 OZ Sports on YouTube. All right. Last night, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Washington Commanders by a score of 26-18. Saquon Barkley had a huge second half in this game, a huge day overall, but a lot of it came in the second half, carrying the rock 26 times for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. There was not much need for Jalen Hurts in this game outside of handing the football off. He also, at the end of the first half, had a little bit of a concussion scare, went under the blue tent, came back out, was cleared to play, and finished the game 18 for 28 with 221 passing yards. Ran for 1 touchdown and 39 yards on the ground, so accounted for over 260 Jalen Hurts did. But Saquon Barkley, like I said before, stole the show. And here's what happened. The Commanders went up 7-0 off a touchdown in the first quarter, scored by Brian Robinson Jr., who returned after 2 weeks of injury. The Eagles' offense did not look great in the first half. A lot of boos from the fans, not a lot of excitement from this offense. The Eagles kick a field goal. By the way, Jake Elliott missed 3 of them, I believe, last night. So needless to say, the Eagles will be looking for a field goal kicker sometime soon because he went 2 for 4 on field goals and I think 1 for 3 on extra points. But nonetheless, that's not the story because luckily Saquon Barkley and the offensive line for the Eagles hit an absolute turbo boost with 2 touchdowns in 2 drives, totaling over 70 plus yards. Here they both are. And he continues sprinting directly to the sidelines to celebrate, to get excited with his team, to do whatever he wants. The bottom line is Saquon Barkley is the version of Saquon Barkley right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that we all expected Saquon Barkley to be when he was drafted by the New York Giants. When Saquon was taken 2nd overall by the Giants, I think it was like 7 years ago now, the bottom line was what he's doing for the Eagles now was exactly what you expected it to look like every single year. His stat line in 2024 is 197 carries, 1,137 yards, 8 touchdowns, 23 receptions, 210 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's got 10 touchdowns and 1,300 plus all-purpose yards already for the Philadelphia Eagles. So if anybody says it doesn't necessarily matter what team you get drafted to or what team you play for or the scheme that you're involved in, they're wrong. The scheme, the coaching staff, the organization, the players, all of those things matter when it comes down to what is the true potential of a dude at the professional level. And when you look at players like Saquon Barkley, who there's no doubt about it, for the entirety of his career, you've known Saquon is good enough. You know, it's not like he had flashes with the Giants. He was an elite running back with the Giants. He was a top 5 to 7, when healthy, running back with the Giants, regardless of what the Giants put out on the field, sometimes regardless of what his rushing yards were. Because you can see when you have a decent to really good offensive line in front of Saquon Barkley, he becomes one of the most dynamic players you've ever watched play football. I have to imagine. Okay. Now, listen, I wasn't really locked for Barry Sanders' career. I was alive for some of Barry Sanders' career, but Barry Sanders' career did not last insanely long. Okay. Early retirement, 30 years old. It's been a big story in the history. We're not going to dive into that fully right now. But my point in telling you all that is thinking back to anything I've ever seen on Barry Sanders, thinking back to my time of seeing Barry Sanders, thinking about how dynamic Barry Sanders was as a running back for the Detroit Lions on such an atrocious football team. See, that's the thing. You put Barry Sanders behind this offensive line, obviously considered by a lot the greatest running back of all time, it would be a head and shoulders and a mountain and then another something or other away from Barry Sanders and then the next running back. If he had any resemblance of an offensive line like what Saquon has right now. But Saquon behind this Eagles offensive line gives me what I believe is the closest look to what Barry Sanders was while he was at the peak of his career with the Detroit Lions. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like a video game. And oftentimes, when you think about the career of Barry Sanders, when you think about the type of football player he was and how he moved, that's exactly what it felt like, a joystick, a video game. And when you're watching Saquon, and I'm watching him last night, and you're going, this dude is really good. Like, and right now, I think Kirk Herbstreit said it on the broadcast last night, so I want to give him the credit for this. But at the end of the day, you could see it in his eyes. He is playing football right now like a man possessed. He is playing football right now like he's having the most fun he's ever had in the National Football League, but at the same time, is out for vengeance. He is out to prove something. Saquon is playing football right now with the energy and the emotion like he was Mr. Irrelevant, like him and Brock Purdy switched places. And he was the last pick in the draft. And every single day he steps on the field, he's like, I'm going to prove all these people wrong. I am the best running back in the league. And I'll tell you what, you give Saquon a full career in an offense like this, behind an offensive line like this, he could be the greatest running back of all time. I don't think that's BS. I don't think that's hyperbole. Let's stay in the NFC. As you can see on your screen right now, the NFC standings heading into week 11 of the National Football League. With that win last night, the Philadelphia Eagles take control of the NFC East. They are a game and a half up on the aforementioned Washington Commanders, 8-2, 7-4. This division is a two-headed race. That is it. There's no Dallas Cowboys. There's no New York Football Giants. Those two teams, the only thing they're worried about right now is who will be our head coach and who will be our quarterback. And in Dallas, I don't know. I think the farther you get away from the ink drying on that Dak Prescott contract, the closer you're going to get to the realization that that was not a great deal. You know, I've seen a lot of the comparisons between Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones. And, you know, you can sometimes skew data any way you want to make your argument, but I think those are going to be two contracts in this division over the next 5 years that are going to have some serious implications. The Eagles and the Commanders in the last 5 years have figured out who their quarterback is. And that quarterback has proven, at least 5 years of Jalen has and half a season of Jaden has, that there's something there to build upon for the next 10. Whereas for the Giants, for the Cowboys, they give these two lucrative contracts to quarterbacks that maybe don't deserve them, and you're going to find yourself in organization hell for the next 5 to 10 years. So I would say a lot of NFC East championships coming from the Eagles and the Commanders the next 5 years. I don't know who will finish off as the victor in the 2024 NFC East. I'll give the nod to the Eagles right now. Not just because they won on Thursday Night Football last night, but more or less because they've been there. 2 years ago, a Super Bowl. Last year, the postseason. They've had a Super Bowl victory in that organization in the last 7 years. Like, I give those things the nod when I'm talking to down the stretch playoff races. So we'll see what happens there. If we continue along in the standings here, the Detroit Lions are leading the NFC North right now by a game over the Minnesota Vikings at 7-2. The Lions are on a heater since losing to the Tampa Bay Bucks in week 4, I believe it was. The Detroit Lions have won 7 straight games and currently are 5-0 away from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. So a really impressive resume being put together by Dan Campbell and this Lions team after an NFC championship loss to the San Francisco 49ers last year. Even though the Vikings are 7-2, I don't necessarily believe in the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold. So I think they'll find their way into a wild card spot when all is said and done, but they have the Packers on their heels at 6-3. I think this is one, or if not two, best division in football right now, top to bottom, because in theory, with the talent on the Chicago Bears roster, you believe they could turn it around at any time. The NFC South will be the wild, wild west, even though it's the South, every single year. The Falcons, they lead this division at a very unsturdy 6-4. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on a 4-game losing streak, losers of 5 of their last 6. After a hot start for Baker and the Bucks. It's just gone the other way. The same thing in New Orleans, 2-0 start, 1-7 in their last 8, plus firing a coach. Now, Darren Rizzi's 1-0, and that's a new season for that team. But nonetheless, not great for the Saints. And then the Panthers, they've won 2 straight. Yeah, the Panthers have won 2 straight. So it's wild to look at the NFC and think to yourself, everyone chalked it up as the Panthers being the worst team in the National Football League, let alone the National Football Conference. Now you look at it and you go, are the Panthers better than the Giants? Are they better than the boys? Are they better than the Saints? Are the Panthers better than the Bears? And you're like, nah, there's no way. And then you're like, well, maybe. It doesn't matter who they're playing. You win 2 straight, you win 2 straight. Something I haven't seen the Giants do since like 1995. So, anyways, kudos to Bryce Young and the boys in Carolina. I know Andy Dalton got them one of those victories. Then finally, the West, the Cardinals. A very impressive 6-4 Cardinals team who are on a 4-game heater right now, lead that division by a half-game win over the San Francisco 49ers, who have won 2 straight, look more like themselves, and got CMC back last week. So I think that's going to go a long way in who they will actually be moving forward. The Dolphins with a big win against the Rams. That could have possibly derailed the Rams season. We'll see them on the bounce back. They play the Pats this week. And then the Seattle Seahawks, talk about another team that started hot and now has gone down the drain, loses a 2-3 of their last 4. Seattle in the cellar of the NFC West. And then just to give you the other side, because just like when I'm in the gym and I do something or showing an example on the baseball field, I cannot just do one side of something and be okay. So if I'm going to show a bicep curl with the right arm, 4 of them, I have to put it in the left arm and do 4 bicep curls. So here are your right arm 4 bicep curls, because you can't just talk one side of the National Football League. My Miami Dolphins, as you see highlighted there in the AFC East, that's because I follow them. They are in second place at 3-6. That means absolutely nothing. The Bills are going to win this division. They're going to run away with it. The Bills are 8-2, a clean 4.5 games above the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a half game above the Jets. The Jets are tied with the Patriots. I think when all is said and done in this division, it's going to be Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets will be the worst team in the National Football League. In the AFC East. But honestly, maybe the National Football League, the North, winter is coming. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead this division 7-2. They have the Ravens on their heels 7-3, and the Bengals and the Browns, nothing comparative to what people actually thought that they would be. The Bengals 4-6, the Browns 2-7. The Bengals, they have an offense. They don't have a very good defense. The Browns, they have a good defense. They don't have a very good offense. So you see the Browns are living in a minus 65 point differential right now, whereas the Bengals are at a +8, which is like, whoa, how are you 4-6 at a +8 point differential? That's because the minus days are minus, and that's not good enough. They're not good enough to sustain that. And then the south of the AFC, the Texans, they have a 2-game lead over the Colts, 6-4, 4-6. And then you have the lowly Titans and the lowly Jags. Like, think about what I said before about the Carolina Panthers. Okay. Are they the worst team in football when you think about how bad the Jags are, how bad the Titans are, some days how bad the Jets are, some days how bad the Browns are? Like, you think about it. The Panthers are, they might not even finish with a top 10 pick the way some of these teams are trending, and they're trending. So wild set of circumstances in the National Football League. Then finally the Chiefs 9-0, they'll win the West, but it's all about who else. And right now the Chargers and the Harbaugh effect looks like it's working. Winners of 3 straight, 4 of their last 5, I believe, 6-3 record. They are right ahead of the 5-5 Denver Broncos, who, even though playing better football offensively, have lost 2 straight. So tough for Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and the Broncos. They are, as the industry says, quote unquote, arriving early, I believe. But nonetheless, arriving, and Bo Nix and that team looks like they could be really good long term. Right now, in the short term, I don't know if they have enough to make the postseason. So if I had to choose here, I'd say the Chargers are the team linked with the Chiefs. Your wild cards in this division, I think, are going to be the Ravens and the Chargers because of how hard it's going to be for the Dolphins to make up some of the ground. 3-6, 6-3. That's 3 games. That's a lot of ground to make up for the Dolphins, especially with another game against the Bills and some other tough ones. So those are your standings in the National Football League on The Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com, broadcast live, YouTube and X. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got some information for you from the other leagues, and then we go through the Sunday slate of games. We're having a blast here on a Friday, November 15th on The Rome Show. Stay with us after this commercial break.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah. It's The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. YouTube Live, X, all the things. Follow us. I'm Andrew Romanello. We got a little bit of time here left in this show, which means we give you all the information we can. Starting in Major League Baseball, by the way, The Rome Show on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, follow. The Tampa Bay Rays are in a very difficult situation heading into the 2025 Major League Baseball season due to the destruction from Hurricane Helene recently in the Tampa, Florida area. The roof destroyed in Tampa Bay. According to reports, it would take $55.7 roughly million to repair the roof at Tropicana Field for the Tampa Bay Rays to be ready for the 2025 season. The problem here is, besides the fact that that's a lot of money for an organization that doesn't even spend that much money on its own roster, the city of Tampa Bay and St. Pete's has agreed to build the Rays a brand new stadium set to open in 2028. So for an organization that already counts pennies on a daily basis, this is not an organization that's going to say, yeah, let's put up billions of dollars for the new stadium in 3 years, But while that happens, let's put up another $55 million to fix the roof. Not going to happen. So after some discussion with Major League Baseball and other teams in Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, much like the Oakland Athletics had to do prior to their move to Las Vegas, will be playing in a minor league stadium. The crazy part, though, they'll be playing in the minor league stadium for the New York Yankees. That is correct. They will be playing at the George Steinbrenner Field, the spring training home of the New York Yankees. So wild situation there. The stadium holds only 11,000 people. It's for a single A team. That single A team will now have to play games in other locations throughout next year's spring. But the bottom line is what goes on over the 2026, 2027 seasons prior to that stadium opening in 2028. And did this hurricane's destruction also off-put the building of the new stadium? So a lot of questions to be answered in Tampa Bay, not very soon. It's a long road and another interesting situation. The third time in the last 5 years, a Major League Baseball team has had to play their games at a minor league stadium. 2020, the Toronto Blue Jays, 2024, the Oakland Athletics, and now 2025, the Tampa Bay Rays. That is disturbing and disappointing, and maybe some unfortunate circumstances like that of the Rays, but in other situations, it was baseball on its own. End of the day, tough look for Major League Baseball and tough situation for the Tampa Bay Rays. Good, though, on the Yankees, who are no short of getting money out of this, $15 million for the Rays to use their stadium. In the National Hockey League, which is one of our favorite
with
sounders that we have, because we have our guy every Tuesday, Hockey with Rocky, on. In the National Hockey League, Connor McDavid became the fourth quickest player in the National Hockey League to reach 1,000 points. That is correct. Last night, Connor McDavid scored on a pass from Leon Draisaitl, his 1,000th points, and now becomes the fourth fastest player to do so. As you can see on the screen, obviously, everything comes down to Wayne Gretzky. Video, Connor McDavid, and back to what I had on the stage before, just to finish. You have Wayne Gretzky, 424 games, Mario Lemieux, 513, and Mike Bossy, 556. For some reason, I have a feeling this is not going to be the last time we hear Connor McDavid and broke a record. Congratulations to the Edmonton Oilers, essentially face of the National Hockey League. We were going to put the West standings up, but because of time, we're going to give you a quick note on the NBA, and then we'll get into it next week as we get deeper into the NBA Cup. Games 2 are tonight. The second round, I don't know what you call it, games 2 of week 1. I have no clue, but either way, pool play, there you go. Pool play tonight, second day of, there you go. Pool play is tonight. And I found this very interesting when I was doing some NBA research last night. In the West, the number one team in that conference is 10-2 with their record, okay? The 11th place team in the West is 6-6. In the Eastern Conference, the number one team, also the number one team in the league, has a 13-0 record. However, the number 11 team in this conference has a 4-7 record. In comparison, the fourth seeded team in the East is the Knicks. They are 5-7. The fourth seeded team in the West is the Nuggets. They are 7-3. So it looks like the National Basketball Association has taken a little bit of a turn back to the association that we know, which is West, a little bit more stacked with complete teams than the East. This weekend is stacked with some football games, and we are going to do this as fast as Andrew has ever done it before, because we all know that sometimes Andrew gets a little long-winded when he gets excited about things. So right now we're going to do this quickly. Dolphins, Raiders, Miami favored by the -7. Give me the Fins. Packers at Bears. Packers favored by 5. Give me the Pack. Jags at Lions. The Lions are favored by 14 points. Like, what? That's got to be the most amount of points the Lions have ever been favored by in the history of their existence. And you know what? I'm going to take them. Yes, I'm taking them. Hot take. Give me the Lions at the -14. Vikings at Titans. Vikings favored by 6. It's going to be a tough battle. I bet they win by 6. Give me the Vikings -6. Rams at Pats. I want the Patriots at the +4.5. This is most likely going to be a banana. We'll see in a minute here. Saints hosting Browns, favored by 1 point. Give me the Saints with the point. Colts at Jets. Battle of what are these two teams, and do they actually have a quarterback? The Jets are favored by 4 at home. Give me the Jets. Give me the Colts at the +4, but I do think the Jets will win this game straight up on the money line. Ravens at Steelers. Baltimore favored by 3. Give me the Steelers at the +3. The Ravens had to work 21 points down to come back against this lowly Cincinnati Bengals team. This Pittsburgh Steelers team's really good right now, so I'll take the Steelers at the +3. Falcons at Broncos. Broncos are favored by 2 at home. I will take that. Denver -2. They end their losing streak. Seahawks at 49ers. The Niners are favored by 6.5. I think they'll win this game. I don't know if they're essentially a touchdown better than the Seahawks right now, though playing better football, though having better weapons back. I'll take a risk here with the Seahawks at the +6.5. But if I was to really put my bananas down on this fully, I'd rather go money line with the 49ers. Chiefs at Bills. This, in my opinion, should be the Sunday night game. It is not. It is midday on Sunday, 4:25 in Orchard Park, New York. This is when the Chiefs lose. If you listen to the show on Tuesday, Rocky tried to tell me this game didn't matter. I tried to throw him off the show for the rest of eternity. The Bills are favored by 2 here. Give me the Bills and give me the -2. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I'm taking it. And then finally, Sunday Night Football, Bengals at Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 1.5 at home. I'm definitely going to take the Chargers with the 1.5 at home. And then quickly, we take a quick music shift, because why?
Ba 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 na na ba 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 na 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 ba 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 na na.
All right, here's the deal. I'm going to give you these 4, and then we out. Anytime touchdown, Josh Allen. Give it to me. Pats plus the 4.5 against the Rams. That defense is too good, and I don't know what this Rams team's all about, especially going to New England. The Vikings at the -6 versus the Titans. I think I'm going to take it. I said they're probably going to just squeak it out, but for some reason, that's just how bad I think this Titans team is. And then I got the Pack at the -5.5 against the Bears. Those are the 4 bananas I need you to put on your bushel this weekend, and hopefully you can win some for yourself. That, ladies and gentlemen, has been the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com, YouTube, X Live, every day, 7 a.m. Follow the show on social media, whatever it is, the Rome Show, 12OZ Sports. Follow us both. Andrew Romanella, have a great weekend. Be electric, and peace.
Thank you for listening.